Matrix Encryption, in search of venture capital. NDA. All materials, concepts, and technical details presented herein regarding matrix encryption are strictly confidential and proprietary. By viewing this presentation, you agree not to disclose, reproduce, or use any information contained herein for any purpose other than evaluating a potential investment or partnership with 777 Technologies. Unauthorized disclosure or use is prohibited and may result in legal action. If you do not agree, then do not proceed beyond this point. Thank you and enjoy the show. Dedicated to my dad and to my papa. Matrix encryption is a patented symmetric key encryption technology having U.S. utility patent number 11777714 and having been issued on October 3, 2023 to Watson Knox Williams Jr. as an individual. The origin of the core mathematics behind matrix encryption, which requires some considerable digression to properly explain, can be traced back to 2013 when I read The Singularity is Near by Ray Kurzweil, published in 2005. I agreed with the general premise of an approaching technological singularity, but felt that the exponential curve being used to model the growth of human development over time towards the singularity was wrong. This book has nothing to do with cryptography whatsoever. However, to hear the story of how my personal study led to the core mathematics of matrix encryption, watch the video titled The Origin Story of Matrix Encryption. A link is located in the description. So, matrix encryption has been through many upgrades since the derivation of the core functions, too numerous to list, practically speaking. Some came before the patent filing, some came after. We don't have any immediate plans to file any daughter patents, as the updates only apply to the core algorithm that is itself already patented. Matrix encryption is arbitrarily stronger than AES, the government standard, that is already considered quantum resistant even under something called Grover's algorithm. Matrix encryption is consequently very quantum resistant and ready for the security threats of the future. You can learn about the brute force resilience of matrix encryption in our video titled The Most Powerful Encryption in the World, and can learn a little about the major post-patent upgrades in our video titled Holographic Character Mapping. Holographic character mapping, our most recent development, is a unique form of non-deterministic cryptography. This means that with a given input text or file, key, and codex, the output encryption is of variable composition and length each time that input is encrypted, which makes it impossible to know the length of the original data from the encryption, and requires no additional information on the part of the recipient. The advantage and security of non-deterministic systems over deterministic systems is very difficult to overstate, and HCM makes matrix encryption a true cryptographic powerhouse. Matrix encryption has a website. The website has a demo service that allows users to encrypt plain text up to 300 characters with their own key and codex. HCM is currently not coded into the service. After 1 month, the service expires and users are encouraged to download compiled matrix encryption software with unique product keys for personal use on desktop. and we have big plans for the future development of the site. Framing the use case, Bitcoin and the Great Decentralization Wave. First of all, it's worth defining the term decentralization, as we need to use it a lot in this section. A centralized system is the classical model of organization. The prime example is a monarchy. The benefit is that it is easy to complete tasks, as there is no opposition. But the drawbacks are a lack of representation and input from the rest of the network. And if the central hub is taken out, the entire network fails. Decentralized models, which we can liken to American democracy, spread control out among several branches, which in turn have central influence locally. If one central hub fails, that part of the network may go down, but not the entire system. A distributed network, on the other hand, connects all points in the network equally. So there is no central locus of control of information, and if any one point in the system fails, then only that point fails, and the entire rest of the system remains intact. For the sake of this presentation, when we invoke decentralization, let it be understood that we are really referring to both decentralized and distributed systems, with the implication being that distributed systems are really the ideal form of decentralized systems. Now let's look at something we call the decentralization pyramid. As with similar diagrams, like the food pyramid, the base forms the most important layer that supports the structure, with elements being tapered towards the top, with sweets in the case of food being the least necessary at the apex. Bitcoin, which viewers will be most familiar with, is not even the base layer of decentralization, but instead relies on cryptography, which literally puts the crypt in cryptocurrency. Bitcoin's decentralization of finance came first, leading to the ongoing decentralization in just about any other sector one cares to examine, but always the technological foundation is cryptography. The general public is scarcely aware, but decentralization isn't just about money, and it's slowly restructuring everything. For example, just to name a single project in each sector listed on the pyramid, we have Uniswap in finance, a decentralized exchange known as a DEX that allows cryptocurrency trading without the need for a traditional centralized exchange. For real-world assets, we have a company called the Island Project, an initiative focused on premier beach and oceanfront island properties, utilizing blockchain technology to enable fractional ownership of luxury homes, condos, and land. In governance, companies like Aragon are bravely providing tools to create DAOs, or decentralized autonomous organizations, that enable collective decision-making and rule enforcement without a centralized authority. In artificial intelligence, myshell.ai is a decentralized AI platform enabling anyone to create, share, and monetize AI agents while fostering a fair AI economy for all. In gaming, Decentraland, one of the older gaming platforms, is a virtual reality platform owned and governed by users, where digital land and items are represented as NFTs. When it comes to energy, Power Ledger allows for peer-to-peer exchange of renewable energy, allowing communities to bypass centralized utility companies. And in the world of insurance, Nexus Mutual is providing coverage collectively without the need for third parties that drive up costs. All these projects and many more exist and are being founded, but there is one sector that remains conspicuously absent and unrepresented. And decentralized governance isn't just happening in micro-communities either. It's already beginning to take root on larger scales. The country of Georgia is using a decentralized land title registry. Denmark is using it for vehicle services. China is now using a decentralized national ID system. In certain places in India, voting on distributed blockchain ledgers that are immune to voter fraud is already taking place. And autonomous enclaves like Praxis are using it as the foundation of their libertarian government. This data is of course preliminary. However, all this to say that if even government itself is changing under the effects of the great wave of decentralization, and it is, then no sector is safe from the decentralized revolution. Which brings us back to the base layer of decentralization and the internet more broadly speaking, cryptography. Modern cryptography is highly centralized, even in the midst of the great wave of decentralization, which should come as a shocking inconsistency or imbalance. Most people don't know or care how cryptography works, and it is this lack of understanding and apathy that are major contributing factors to their lack of privacy. Emails are end-to-end encrypted for you. Email platforms read user email contents at will, and users have no control over their own keys. Certificate authorities distribute encryption certificates for websites, and even though it is theoretically possible to secure your own transport layer, it isn't allowed. Decentralized crypto projects in every sector run on cryptography, and yet the base layer itself remains centralized. My friends, this isn't principled or sustainable. Proton Mail, a popular privacy-centric email service, is widely held to be a good alternative to Gmail, but it is still centralized in its approach, requiring server trust and seeks metadata from its users. Proton Mail and others are like castles with high walls. A castle can be stormed, but a labyrinth of distributed encryption cannot be conquered. If we don't decentralize the cryptographic trust layer, the rest of decentralization will have been in vain, making the promise of a decentralized future an empty one. Each of the sectors touched on in this presentation lean on centralized cryptography standards. AES, RSA, and SHA are all defined by committees, governments, or legacy corporations. A truly decentralized ecosystem cannot rely on centralized crypto primitives. Thus, cryptography is the final boss, the gatekeeper, for all other decentralizations. In this way, Matrix Encryption isn't proposing just another crypto product, but the foundation stone layer without which the rest are castles built on sinking sands. But there's good news, and reason to be optimistic. The competition on the scale we're envisioning is non-existent. We're early, and there is a massive opportunity if we are brave and take the right steps. Government will not regulate us out of existence. It's already grappling with its own existential decentralization. Selling compiled encryption software domestically for offline use does not require a license or prior approval, which makes compliance easier. The race for AGI is on, and the world is rapidly changing. But as long as people are people, the desire for privacy will remain. Matrix encryption cannot fail. It must not fail. Meet Watson Williams, the inventor of matrix encryption, the sole owner of the matrix encryption patent, and the sole member of 777 Technologies, the business founded around matrix encryption. To date, matrix encryption has no sales and is at a net negative that only continues to grow as we invest more time and more energy into what some who do not see the value in what we're trying to do might label a foolish dream. Matrix encryption is spearheading the mass adoption of decentralized cryptography. We will do this by selling compiled software on a national scale for personal offline use. So there is no decentralized architecture to have to construct or worry about securing, as the act of selling our products inherently carries the decentralizing or distributive effect to consumers. As should be clear, it is not the matrix encryption technology per se that is decentralized. Rather, it's all about how it is applied. And decentralization is an integral part of our vision of success and an ethical future. And it is this vision that drives us uphill to sound the trumpets and to lead the charge towards decentralized cryptography for the world. Our website, that functions as an e-commerce style storefront, brand, and cultural center, needs funding for advertising and further website development, as we want to tokenize with our own utilitarian cryptocurrency and integrate NFTs into our platform, and more. We have plans for brand apparel, accessories, advertising campaigns, and tokenomic details, all of which we're more than willing to discuss with potential investors. The time is ripe, so what are you waiting for? Join us today. Matrix encryption is on the verge of liberating the base decentralization layer. Join the decentralized cryptographic renaissance today. Email 777technologies LLC at gmail.com or call 251-485-4460.